Welcome to another growth mindset. I think we're on episode 8 now, right? Episode 8? Episode 8 of the growth mindset. Today, I want to take us back to a memory I have, a beautiful memory. It was summertime in Bend, Oregon, June 24th. 2020, Bend, Oregon. Anyone who has been here knows how stunning and beautiful it was. And I wake up just like any other day. I wake up next to my beautiful wife, and it was early in the morning. I look at her and I asked her, hey, what do you want to do today? At this point, she's very pregnant, looking beautiful, but very pregnant. And she said, hey, let's go to my mom's house. Let's go over to my mom's house and we'll do a little gardening. So we go over to her house. We drive over. I drive over there with her and we start gardening at her house. And, you know, there's just this sense on that day. There was just this energy, this sense that something was going to happen. My life was going to change forever. That's what I learned that sense was. And that was just in the air. So, you know, we're gardening, and I'm gardening like some tomatoes. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm pouring water on these tomatoes and I'm caring for these tomatoes. And I think to myself, like, both Shay and I hate tomatoes. Like, why the fuck did we plant tomatoes? We hate tomatoes. So anyways, I'm doing that. I look over at my wife and I'm just, again, in that awe and this energy. And then boom, I get a phone call for work. So I step aside and I start doing a little bit of work at that time. And it was an intense call, something that needed to happen. And so about an hour later, Shay comes up to me. I'm still on the phone. And she's like, Dirk, we got to go. I'm like, what do you mean we got to go? She's like, it's happening. We got to go. And I was like, it's happening? Like, I hang up the phone. It's like, hey, I gotta go. I think my wife's in birth. Like, I gotta go. And we hang up. And just for a backstory, like, my wife and I were having a home birth here because we're kind of hippies, especially my wife. We're having a home birth. And so we're gardening. And she's like, hey, I'm having contractions. We gotta go home. So I'm driving home and I got these butterflies, more butterflies than you could ever imagine. Like, you know, like when you meet the person that you end up marrying, or you meet somebody that you think you're in love with, maybe you are in love with them, the butterflies that you have there. Well, that times like 100, just these major butterflies as we're driving home. And turns out my wife was in labor, and we spend the next 6 to 8 hours going through labor. She did the hard work. I was there with her. And it was one of the most primal, romantic, beautiful experiences of my life. I would have never expected anything like that. And after all of that labor, out of nowhere, on June 24th of 2024, my first son was born. Right there on the kitchen floor, he was born. Boom, smack right there. And I'll never forget what happened in those moments, the feeling that came over me. Anyone who has kids knows that it's a feeling that you have. You cannot put that love into words. You can only feel it. It's like the whole world started to make sense to me. A whole new world was open, and all of a sudden I had like every aha moment you could ever have in one moment. Like everything that I'm supposed to do in this world and everything I'm supposed to provide, in one moment I had this aha. My first son was born. And right there, both my beautiful wife and I became parents. And I went from, you know, just having a role as a husband to having a role now as a father. A whole new role in this world was born for me. And that role specifically has been one of my favorite roles that I've ever had. It's this role where, you know, talk about a growth mindset. There is nothing that will make you grow more than having a child, having your first child, any children. It's like having a mirror up against yourself. And it gives you this opportunity to have massive, deep reflection on your own childhood, your connection and love you have with your parents, and then this unfelt love that you would never have until you have your child. It's just this amazing opportunity to look inward and grow. And so being a dad has been a huge springboard for me in continuing to develop a growth mindset, right? It's been a huge springboard, and I'm constantly reflecting and learning and trying to improve my approach with how I build the relationship with my children, my approach on how I show up as a leader and a father to them, somebody that's there for them, but not too much. right? We don't want to do everything for our kids. I'm learning that right now, and I'm really working on that. We had a cool little thing happen this morning with my 4-year-old where he wanted more smoothie, and the normal thing I would do is I'd go and grab the smoothie bowl and pour it in there. It would take 20 seconds and I give him his smoothie back. But I've been reading and hearing that the key to making successful children or successful humans in society is not to do too much for them, or tough children, good children, is not to do too much for them, right? And so I have to learn, one of the growth mindset pieces I learned there is my normal reaction, especially because I'm like a go kind of guy, is to grab the smoothie, fill it up for him, give it back to him, boom, here you go. And instead today I caught myself. I said, oh, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to show him he can get his own independence. Like he can fill up his own smoothie bowl. So we go over, we grab the smoothie bowl. He starts to try to work on the cup. And originally, interestingly enough, when he was starting to open it, he tried, and he said, oh, I can't get it. And I was like, yeah, no, you can get it. I didn't jump in. I said, no, you can get it. And he thought about it a little bit and took another angle and he worked on it and he got it. And he got it's silly. It sounds silly, but it's true. Like watching it as a dad, he got it. And I watched this small sense of confidence build in him, right? So something that seems so simple to us, unscrew the lid, fill it up. I watched this small thing of confidence. And then we get the big old blender filled with smoothie, and he starts to pour it. He did a great job. He's like, oh, it's not too heavy. He pours it in, gets his smoothie poured in. And then obviously, of course, stuff drips all over the floor. Like, of course, he's 4 years old, but he gets it filled. He's happy. He screws it back on for a while. He's trying to, just like we would all do, right? He's trying to screw it. The righty tighty, lefty loosey is a saying for a reason. So he's working on that. We learn that piece, and we come out of it, and he feels way more accomplished. I even then on the mess, right? The mess was another one. Normally I would jump in, just clean the mess. I was like, oh, hey, Christian, we have this mess here. And he's like, I was like, what should we do? He's like, oh, let's get a towel, right? And so we just created this experience. The point is I didn't jump in and do it for me. I had to grow. I had to pause myself, grow. And I was able to give him a point of independence on it. And sure, like what could have taken 20 seconds took us 4 minutes, and we had to clean a bunch of smoothie up. It was actually funny. Bayo came in and like started slurping off the ground, started slurping all the little smoothie spots. So we had to laugh on that. But it was just this like every day, what it made me realize and reflect on is like, I have every single day, I have to catch myself in my growth mindset and pour reflection into myself so that I can pour into these children what they deserve. Right. And I think that being a dad is one of the best gifts you could ever have in the entire world. And I feel so blessed to be able to have these boys. And now in 8 weeks from now, a girl, we're going to actually have another girl, which will be just this beautiful experience for us. And I just feel so glad that I get to experience that in life, and so blessed and grateful that that gift has been given to me. And it's a role that isn't always easy either, right? One of the big reasons I cut alcohol out of my life was because even one drink, what I realized that I would wake up grumpy. So I would just wake up a little more grumpy, a little more irritable towards my children. And I just reflected and I thought to myself, that's not fair towards them, right? So just because I want to sleep in now, or I'm a little grumpier, or I'm, whatever it is, it's just not fair. And so I really work on it, and I'm far from perfect. I'm far from perfect at it. But every single day, it forces me, talk about growth mindset, to really, really live in that growth mindset. And part of the reason why we even do this documentation, it's to connect with everyone and to give, but it's also to create time capsules for the future. And so if my children are ever listening to this, just know like your dad loves you so much. And I'm so thankful to be able to be in this role and live this life with you guys. I can't wait to watch where you guys go, what you guys do. I know it's going to be special. And thank you for being a mirror for me, and just a huge part of my why, both for myself and I know your mother as well. So I love you guys very much. We cannot wait to continue to build House Vandervelde with you. And with that, my friends, I will see you on the next one, baby.